Doris with All the Books, and Shawn the Book Maniac and I are here with our second installment of the Faber stories. This one is Samuel Beckett's Dante and the Lobster, and we're reading this one also for our Irish readathon this month. So Samuel Beckett, a very interesting gentleman. He was born in Ireland but spent most of his adult life in France, where he wrote novels, short stories, plays, poems, essays. He became a theater playwright, director, and was a literary translator. He wrote in English and French. So he was quite decorated gentleman. He worked with the French Resistance in World War II and received the Croix de Guerre for that. And he also received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1969. I did not know that when picking up this book. I find that quite fascinating. And in reading it, well, I'll get to that in just a minute. So when he won his Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize Committee said that he received it for his writing, which in new forms for the novel and drama, in the destitution of modern man, acquires its elevation. Little highbrow. And he was known for tragicomic outlook on the human existence. So that had me quite intrigued. And then when I picked this up, I had to read the first 10 pages twice. Yes, I did. I was like, what in the world is going on here? So I read it a second time and it made much more sense. So we're opening this with our main character, Mr. Let's see, what is his name? It's a name that I'm not familiar. Belacqua is reading the Divine Comedy and being guided by Beatrice along with Dante. So makes sense now the second time around. And then we go into, once he finishes his reading scheduled time, we go into lunchtime where he prepares his meal with, I guess, military precision. He is very, very precise with how he goes about things. Very, very precise. So he seems a bit highbrow, a bit quirky, and extremely precise. He has well-laid plans. And I have a feeling from the title of this book, Dante and the Lobster, that perhaps something will come along to thwart his plans. We shall see. He's also perhaps a bit antisocial. Yes. He doesn't want anybody disturbing his reading, which I can understand, but don't disturb his lunch preparations either. And I haven't read that part yet, but I get the feeling he doesn't want his eating of the lunch disturbed at all. So, curious to see where this one goes. And I'm wondering, Shawn, if you're going to get any material for your In Other Words series from this, because I have certainly been opening Wikipedia a time or two as I'm reading. So curious to hear your thoughts on these first 10 pages here.
Hey, Doris. Well, this is going to be short and sweet. I'm interested in a couple of Beckett plays, Waiting for Godot, Krapp's Last Tape. I saw a performance of that in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, an unlikely place except when you consider that Henry Wolfe, a renowned actor and drama professor, taught at the University of Saskatchewan for decades. Harold Pinter's best friend, the one who inspired him to write one of his most famous plays, was it called The Room, lived in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. As far as I know, he still does. He's still alive at the age of 89. And I saw him do the one-man show of Krapp's Last Tape. It was magisterial and magical. But I don't think Samuel Beckett is a fiction/prose reader for me. You did a lot better than I did. I read the first 3 pages 3 times. I can't make head nor tail of it. I think it's pretentious garbage about some Dante's Inferno. Is that the name of the poem, play thing, whatever? Ridiculous old fusty old dusty bullshit. I don't want to know anything about that, and I don't want to read a piece of fiction about a minor character from a dusty old poem play thing. So I hated the writing, I hated the abstruse vocabulary, I hated being called upon to be familiar with some stupid old poem to understand this oh so absurdist modern short story. No! I bailed. Please enjoy the rest of the story, Doris. Don't tell me how it turns out. I don't care. Blech.
Shawn, you bailed. You make me laugh. That was really... I knew it. I knew it. I was surprised you made it through the, what was the Aikman? Yeah. But yeah, I knew it. Pretentious was a very good word. It was kind of like he saved up all of his well-turned phrases and stuffed them into the pot with the lobster. But yeah. I think I would have given the plot about a 1, meaning it didn't have one. It was more of a character study than anything, really. Overall, it was kind of a 2.5. I'll round it up to a 3 to be generous. Because it was only like, 30 pages. If it had been a novel, it would definitely have been a 2. Anyway, I did want to read some of the phrasing. He added some biblical allusions too, so I know you would have loved that, Shawn. Here we go. He's sniffing the cheese, okay? He stooped and smelt it, a faint fragrance of corruption. What good was that? He didn't want fragrance. He wanted a bloody gourmet. He wanted a good stench. What he wanted was a good, green, stenching, rotten lump of gorgonzola cheese, alive, and by God, he would have it. He looked fiercely at the grocer. "What's that?" he demanded. The grocer writhed. "Well?" demanded Belacqua. He was without fear when roused. "Is that the best you can do?" "In the length and breadth of Dublin," said the grocer, "you won't find a rottener bit this minute." Belacqua was furious. The impudent dog's body. For 2 pence he would assault him. "It won't do," he cried. "Do you hear me? It won't do at all. I won't have it." He ground his teeth. The grocer, instead of simply washing his hands like Pilate, flung out his arms in a wild crucified gesture of supplication. Sullenly, Belacqua undid his packet and slipped the cadaverous tablet of cheese between the hard, cold, black boards of the toast. He stumped to the door, and when he whirled around, however, "You heard me?" he cried. "Sir," said the grocer. This was not a question, nor yet an expression of acquiescence. The tone in which it was let fall made it quite impossible to know what was in the man's mind. It was a most ingenious riposte. "I tell you," said Belacqua, with great heat, "this won't do at all." It was funny. Okay, sorry. I thought it was funny. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will be back soon. Bye.